So in tonight's Facebook Live, we're going to talk about what is a 3D core and how do we get our clients to train a 3D core. So essentially, anything that's 3D obviously has it's multi-directional. So when we talk about core muscles, everyone talks about core and how important your core is. What does that actually mean? So we normally focus on some very specific muscles that make up the core, which are like your abdominals, your external obliques, and then other various abdominal exercises, what people focus specifically on. And they're really important. They're 100% needed when you develop core strength. But if you want to make a 3D core, if you want to develop your 3D core, you need to think about other factors. So we're just going to quickly discuss what muscles make up your 3D core so that you can help your clients train them. So of course, if we think about it a bit like your torso is a can. So we have a top, a bottom, and then we have around the outside. So at the very top, we're talking about our diaphragm. So your diaphragm is a very large muscle and it's very forceful when trained properly. Now a lot of people obviously breathe through each exercise they do normally, but don't necessarily maximize the amount of force they can generate through their diaphragm because they don't breathe correctly. So we need to think about different exercises, breathing patterns, and diaphragmatic control. So our diaphragm makes up the top. Then if we go to the other end, we're talking about the bottom of the can. So the bottom of our torso is of course our pelvic floor. And our pelvic floor muscles are another set of muscle groups, another muscle group that is so important for so many people, but only really thought of or focused on when it comes to anti and postnatal clients, and then potentially the older demographic because of incontinence. If you think about yourself now, or you think about your client that you might work with, let's say that they're 30 years of age, in every exercise session, is their pelvic floor and is your focus their pelvic floor in amongst all normal exercises? That's the question you want to ask yourself. And if it is, then that's perfect. If it's not, then it's something that you can be taking advantage of. We can all do various different exercises, but we can all do them with not quite the perfect technique. So for example, if I wanted to do a straight leg double leg sit up, so obviously the legs coming up towards the torso on the floor, most people can do that using momentum to allow them to do it, but if they did it properly with their core and pelvic floor engaged, it would be completely different. It would be a lot harder. So pelvic floor muscles are important for everybody, not just those demographics that I talked about before. And sometimes it's a bit of an area that people don't want to discuss. They don't want to talk about being able to contract their pelvic floor muscles to prevent themselves from weeing and thinking about that. They just want to get on with the exercises that they're focused on. But if you do combine that area with the given exercise, so for example, with the sit-up or even with a squat, with anything, if you think about pelvic floor muscles, then you're going to maximize the amount of strength you can develop in them over a period of time. So that's the top and the bottom of our core. Then at the front, we've obviously got various different abdominals. The main one that most people know, your clients will know, will be your rectus abdominis, otherwise known as your six-pack muscles. And they're of course a very, very strong group of muscles that give a lot of definition to the body. Now they're important, but so is your transverse abdominis, which is like a sheath of it's like a corset that wraps around your middle to hold your core in really tight. That's a really important muscle group, and we want to make sure that we don't forget exercises that specifically work that. We also don't want to forget to engage it whilst we're doing other exercises that aren't necessarily abdominal focused. So you've got your rectus abdominis and your transverse abdominis as a minimum. There are of course other ones that you could use too, or activate too. And then if we go towards the back of the body, we predominantly are focusing on the erector spinae muscle, which is the long muscle that goes all the way from the top of your back to your lower. It's so important for posture. It is a hard muscle group to exercise regularly and effectively, and there's not as many exercises available for that specific muscle group. So a lot of people will just choose like back extension either on the ground or on a Swiss ball. So that again, perfect exercise. Are there other ways that you can target the erectus spinae and the abdominals at the front simultaneously? So really what we're thinking about here is when someone says, I want to develop my core muscles, I want to develop my core strength, don't just go to abs. Don't just go to abs and pelvic floor. Think about abdominis, your transverse abdominis, your pelvic floor, your diaphragm, and your erectus spinae. So you need to think about the whole 3D effect. So I hope that's making sense. It's hard to visualize sometimes when you don't have a model in front of you or a diagram in front of you. But now think about what exercises that you can do that specifically, individually target those muscle groups. Write a list of those down, see whether you can start integrating them into your client sessions. And then once you've figured out what independent exercises work each of those muscle groups, think about how your general exercises can be adapted or taught to try and integrate some of these other areas. So how can you teach everyday exercises to ensure that the pelvic floor muscles are engaged? How can you make sure that certain aerobic exercises and resistance exercises are effectively working the diaphragm muscle and thinking about breathing technique? Of course, your back muscles are going to be a large contributor to posture. So postural exercises, making people aware of how they stand in everyday life, how they move in everyday activities, as well as when they're exercising with you. The problem we have is that a lot of people may come to the gym a couple of times a week. Maybe they work with you one-on-one or in a group session, and they work really well. They have good posture because you're teaching them to. But as soon as they leave that particular area, they go back to their habits, their lifestyle routines, how they sit, how they move around at work, and they undo all of that goodness. So we need to teach people about what a 3D core is so that they can think about how they move and how they activate these muscle groups in everyday life to keep it going. So if you're going to strengthen them, you want people to continue it. It's no different to ante and postnatal clients when people get them. When you as trainers get your clients to do pelvic floor exercises in the session, that's of course helpful, but if those ladies don't do it on a regular basis after the session, then they're not going to get the same amount of benefit from it long term. So in summary, a 3D core is looking at the body from all different angles and perspectives. So we have the top with our diaphragm, the base with our pelvic floor, the front with our core muscles and our abdominal muscles to really hold us in position there, and then the erectus spinae to hold us upright and to make sure that our posture is held as it should do. And with all of those elements being in place, general exercise and general movements will be done more effectively and more powerfully. So we go into the 3D core in one of our workshops or masterclasses that we run in more detail. But just think about how it can help your clients get to their goals, how it can potentially help improve overall posture if they've got poor posture, how it can decrease back pain, it can decrease the likelihood of people developing back pain, how it can improve core strength and therefore decrease the likelihood of incontinence, for example. There are so many different benefits. Don't just think about the basics when it comes to developing core strength. So I hope that's just given you some ideas to think about things in from more than one point of view, let's say. If you have any questions, have any ideas, have any favourite exercises that work these muscle groups, then feel free to put them in the comments below so that we can all learn from each other. And I'll see you next week for another revision/discussion topic. See you then.